Welcome to day 30 in our study of the book of Ecclesiastes. The title for today's lesson is, I Have No Pleasure in Them. Our passage for reading comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 12. We'll be reading verses 1 through 8. Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars are darkened, and the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house tremble, and the strong men are bent, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those who look through the windows are dimmed, and the doors on the street are shut, when the sound of the grinding is low, and one rises up at the sound of a bird, and all the daughters of song are brought low. They are afraid also of what is high, and terrors are in the way. The almond tree blossoms, the grasshopper drags itself along, and desire fails, because man is going to his eternal home, and the mourners go about the streets. Before the silver cord is snapped, or the golden bowl is broken, or the pitcher is shattered at the fountain, or the wheel is broken at the cistern, and the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All is vanity. I get a kick out of the cartoonist that brings the Maxine humor to light. She says such things about aging like, your 50s aren't too old for contact sports. Contact the doctor. Contact the nurse. Contact the therapist. She also says, at my age, the number one fashion question is, can you nap in it? Or how about, young at heart, old everywhere else? And finally, they say you are supposed to listen to your body. We stopped talking years ago. Then there are the song titles from our youth, the parodies of which have been adjusted to reflect our age. Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely walker. Or, how can you mend a broken hip? Maybe a whiter shade of hair. And finally, first time ever I forgot your face. Then there are the text abbreviations that only the elderly among us can truly appreciate. BTW, bring the wheelchair. BYOT, bring your own teeth. LWO, Lawrence Welk is on. WAITT, who am I talking to? And finally, IMHO, is my hearing aid on? I hope these didn't offend you, but don't worry, you'll likely soon forget them. Now, what was I getting at? Oh yes, the aging process. What about it? Solomon is going to describe quite accurately the aging process here in chapter 12. It is good to be reminded how chapter 11 ended. Unfortunately, Stephen Langton, the Archbishop of Canterbury, chose to divide chapter 11 in a way that breaks the thought pattern of Solomon's writing. Consider this way of reading this passage without the chapter break that interrupts the flow. Beginning in chapter 11 and verse 8, so if a person lives many years, let him rejoice in them all. But let him remember that the days of darkness will be many. All that comes is vanity. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Remove vexation from your heart and put away pain from your body, for youth and the dawn of life are vanity. Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. Now, let me say that the first 7 verses of chapter 12 were quite a mystery to me in my younger days. What is Solomon talking about? The moon and stars, the keepers of the house, the grasshoppers, silver cord, and golden bowl. Now, studying this passage certainly helped. Yet even better was my own experiences with the aging process. Sure, I look like I've been drinking regularly from the fountain of youth, but I can assure you that even though I look as though I am 39, I am not, in fact, 39. Solomon admonishes the young person to be mindful of their Creator. Think on, bring to remembrance, as the Hebrew word means. Not merely God, although that is certainly implied, but more to the point, your Creator, that which brought this world and you and me and everything that dwells on earth. Now, what or when are those evil days, and what is it that is such that brings no pleasure in them? Solomon describes rather well and to the point those days that come in the advanced years at the end of life. Here's how the Good News Translation, also known as the Today's English Version, has rendered this passage. So remember your Creator while you are still young, before those dismal days and years come when you'll say, I don't enjoy life. That is when the light of the sun, the moon, and the stars will grow dim for you, and the rain clouds will never pass away. Then your arms that have protected you will tremble, and your legs, now strong, will grow weak. Your teeth will be too few to chew your food, and your eyes too dim to see clearly. Your ears will be deaf to the noise of the street. You'll barely be able to hear the mill as it grinds, or music as it plays. But even the song of a bird will wake you from sleep. You'll be afraid of high places, and walking will be dangerous. Your hair will turn white. You will hardly be able to drag yourself along, and all desire will be gone. While each of these taken alone is not a guarantee that the age process and experience of such a malady will be that way, but the overall picture of old age is accurately depicted. The above version is as good a commentary on the passage as what a more wordy attempt would render. Then we have the rather grim description of death's occurrence. The mourners go about the streets in the funeral procession. Other rather obscure portraits of death with the silver cord, the golden bowl, the shattered picture, and the broken wheel of the cistern. Each of these are a rather poetic description of the end of life. Yet we recognize instantly the phrase, and the dust returns to the earth as it was. For so this has been used aforetime to describe death. Consider the first time in Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. And Zophar declared to Job in Job chapter 20, verse 11, his bones are full of his youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust. Is there a simple, concise, succinct meaning behind Solomon's admonition here? What is the reason that the young man should remember now your Creator in the days of your youth? Is or are the reason or reasons that when one is old they may be too set in their ways to repent and acknowledge their Creator? Perhaps because there is no certainty that one will live that long. Maybe that your life may be long and prosperous and that evils may not come upon you. Would time dull one's memory of the lessons Solomon has taught and render them and us callous to the gratitude and thankfulness for that which we have received from our Creator? We may lose sight that He is our Creator and that all we have and all that we are and ever will be is in His hands. Perhaps it is maybe one or more or all of these, and perhaps others that are not here contemplated. Whatever it may be, we are wise to contemplate our Creator today, while strength, vigor, and sound mind are with us. Have you remembered your Creator this day? And Lord willing, join us again tomorrow for our final lesson in a study of the book of Ecclesiastes.